turn to my left and find two more in-studio guests, another host of this fantastic event from Modern Family, Eric Stonestreet. And I will give you the floor to introduce the guest that you have brought to your left,
This
Eric.
is Kansas City Chief right tackle, Mitchell Schwartz.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, I deserve it.
Good to see you, Mitchell.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You got it. Now, you've been sending me texts about Mitchell and what he stands for, and I don't want to talk about him as if he's not here, but...
Yeah, well, I said I'll bring somebody on as a guest. It's always fun to bring somebody on, and we're here in Kansas City, and thank you for doing this. I can't say it enough. This is amazing that you brought your whole show here. Whole show is here in Kansas City in support of Big Slick, and we appreciate it very much.
You better.
But when I said I wanted to bring a guest on, I'm like, well, I want to bring on who I wanted to be when I was a kid, and that was an offensive lineman for the Kansas City Chiefs. And I've been fortunate enough to get to know Mitchell and know what a good guy he is and what a great player he is. So I wanted to share this moment with the right tackle for the Chiefs, my favorite football team. Not that I need to tell anybody that.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, it's really cool. I got to know him, I guess, at the end of last year, and we hit it off right away.
We both like food.
We both like food. We have a lot of shared interests. He asked me where I got my meat, and we go to the same meat guy.
He goes to the same butcher here in Kansas City. I said, serious question though, Mitch, where do you buy your meat in Kansas City? He's like, oh, this place called Bicklemeyer's. And I'm like, okay, you're in. You're good.
So, because I know how seriously you take your Kansas City food, Eric.
You do.
I do know. You have actually cooked for me.
Yes,
You've
I have.
actually handed me your actual fruits of your cooking labor.
Of my loins.
You have. Well, I mean, hold on a second. Yes, in a way, no question about that. But you guys go to the same butcher here.
We do,
in
yeah.
Kansas City.
Yeah. I mean, when I got here, I like to cook. I was confined to an apartment in my previous life, and I got here, I got a house, got a whole backyard setup. I mean, this guy's got the greatest backyard setup you could ever imagine for cooking, and he's sending me videos all the time, different stuff to try. And
the text exchange between me and him and some of his other offensive linemen that are into smoking is hilarious. Like, one night I put a brisket on, and it was like we were kind of coordinating with the time difference of putting a brisket on around the same time. And I woke up to check my brisket and texted Mitch at 4 a.m. LA time, which was Kansas City 6 a.m. time. And I told Lindsay, my girlfriend, I'm like, I texted Mitchell Schwartz in the middle of the night about a brisket. I'm like, what is going on? And he responded.
For no reason, I was up at that exact time, and because I was doing a brisket the next night, so we kind of throw ideas off each other, see what we do. I think he was doing like a 24-hour, super slow, got all jiggly and gooey, and the bark was perfect.
Mitchell Schwartz of the Kansas City Chiefs and Eric Stonestreet of Modern Family here in our Big Slick show, hour number 3 from the home of the Kansas City Royals. Are you playing softball later on tonight too, Mitchell?
I'm not. I stick to my own
Reed
sport.
he puts the kibosh
I grew up
on
playing
that, or?
baseball, actually.
Come on now.
Well, I'm kind of a big guy, so when I was growing up, I was big and I threw hard, and then you kind of reach a plateau and top out at 80, and the hitters start to catch up pretty soon. So,
So here's a cool thing, a coincidence Mitch and I have in common. So he went to Pali High in Los Angeles. Coach Cam on Modern Family is the junior high football coach at what is Pali High. So he went to school where Coach Cam coaches football.
Yeah, I literally play football at the school.
On
he
the
coaches
field
football.
that I coach football on.
Well, we upgraded to turf.
Yeah, you do have good turf.
Back then it was a lot of dirt and not much grass, but they got the cool turf field.
Oh man, that's great. How is Patrick Mahomes looking right now, Mitchell?
Good. I mean,
question here.
Obviously that's the big question here in Kansas City.
Damn straight it is.
Putting a lot of faith into him, the whole organization, and we wouldn't have done that if he didn't progress the way he did last year. Coming from his offense in college to the stuff Coach Reed does. Coach Reed's not a guy that has a lot of patience for things that don't go well and things that aren't very fine-tuned. And so the fact that we are going to Pat this year really shows what they think of him. And he's been great. I mean, I played that Denver game last year that he played, and he did a great job in the huddle. I mean, it was pretty seamless. A lot of guys, especially first start on the road and against a division opponent, sometimes gets a little nervous, and I didn't see any of that from him. I mean, the operation was smooth. I mean, you guys know as football guys that a lot of times on the road in a loud environment, you get a lot of those delay games and things of that nature. We didn't have any of that stuff. The calls got in, they got out, it got quick, things rolled well, and obviously that progression that he showed really let them be able to do what they did.
And it looks like he could make any throw from any place on the field.
Well, he's obviously got special ability from a physical standpoint. I mean, He did some stuff in the preseason. He's fading off to his right and chucks it 50 yards across his body. He did it in our 2-minute drive against Denver where he's fading away and somehow is able to make the throw. So from a physical standpoint, I mean, there's nothing he can't do for a quarterback.
But I mean, Mitchell Schwartz and Eric Stonestreet here. I mean, Eric, you can give voice. There are Chiefs fans who loved Alex Smith. I mean, and he was always a big, slick guy. He was always here. He was a big part of this community.
A great part of the
And
Kansas City community. Yeah.
And so for him to now be in Washington and hand things off to this kid, but when you trade up to go get somebody, you gotta end up starting them.
And I feel like the Chiefs did the right thing by Alex. You know, as a person, I think Alex Smith is a good guy. I've always been an Alex Smith fan, and a lot of people in Kansas City, you know, weren't Alex Smith fans, which always annoyed the heck out of me because I think he's a great quarterback. And I'm happy for him in Washington. And obviously, I don't know much about Mahomes' talent. I mean, I'm going to trust professionals. I'm going to trust what he says. And Coach Reed, I love Coach Reed. The moment Coach Reed came to Kansas City, I was excited. And I trust. You know, every year at this time, the Chiefs are going to the Super Bowl as far as I'm concerned. I'm always the same level of excitement.
Now, are you going to stay with your vow that you won't ever go to the Super Bowl?
I'll never go to a Super Bowl until
Mitchell
the Chiefs
takes you one?
Yeah, until Mitchell takes me to the Super Bowl or the version of his position.
Are you aware of that, Mitchell?
Yeah.
I'm great with that. Yeah.
I have no interest in the Super Bowl until my Chiefs are in it. None.
And I respect that. I mean, obviously, as a fan, you know, I'm a fan of football. I like to watch the stuff, and you get to liking to watch the Super Bowl and seeing what happens. And I love the fact that it doesn't matter if it's not his team. We love that. Obviously, this is people of Kansas City. They're so passionate about
It's
the
so
team.
weird when you think about it as an adult because when I was a kid, another guy was wearing his jersey and playing his position. But my love and passion for the team has never changed, you know, given all the transition that's happened and all the players that have worn the jerseys and played the positions. It's the organization, it's the colors, it's the mascot, it's the environment, it's the city. It's just there's something about Kansas City that, you know, I love. And the Chiefs.
When was the last time you missed a game, Mitchell?
Missed the game. It would have been in high school for a Jewish holiday when.
So you got Kofaxed?
I did, yeah.
Yom Kippur?
Yeah, it was a Friday night, and I believe it was Kol Nidre, and I went to Temple. I didn't play in the game.
So you atoned rather than played?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
You know,
and I think you've been rewarded for that.
I have I've been very lucky with some, I think what you're alluding to, I haven't missed a game in my 6 years. And
what about a snap?
Haven't missed a snap either.
Is there a problem talking about that sort of? Are you superstitious?
No, I mean, I don't try to bring it up myself. I was in Cleveland with the guy, Joe Thomas, who has the NFL record for snaps, and I was lucky enough to kind of learn from him. And like you said, I mean, you could just get fortunate with health. I mean, so many things can go wrong in the NFL. You just get lucky that the guys don't roll into you at the wrong time. And, small things happen, you fight through it. But I learned from the best in Cleveland and Joe and how to take care of your body, how to prepare. And obviously the goal is to stay healthy.
Your brother, Jeff Schwartz, he's like the king of Twitter videos.
He smacks people down.
He's
great. He's great. There was it's an interesting moment when I'll share this here on the show. I don't know if I've ever said this into the microphone, but I had not met your brother, but I followed him on Twitter.
Okay.
All right. And he was doing stuff with the NFL Network this past playoff season.
Yeah.
Right. So it was halftime of all these games that were going on, or one big game, and I had to go in the 5-minute window of halftime.
Yeah.
I had to, do some business. And the men's room was locked. So I knocked on the women's room door and went in there. Came out of the women's room, and who's standing there in the hallway but your brother.
A tiny fella.
You just look up and
So I just didn't want to acknowledge anything, and then I just saw later on when he tweeted out a video of himself talking about one of the games. I'm like, that was Jeff Schwartz.
Yeah.
So I direct messaged him like, let's keep that to ourselves.
You just
And I just outed myself. But he
as
couldn't
long
have
as
been
you didn't
nicer.
follow him into the bathroom,
No,
I think you're okay.
I mean, and it's not, but it is not easy for an offensive lineman to break into sports media. It is not easy to do that. You need to be like either a Hall of Famer walking off the field, or somebody who's like a 12-time Pro Bowler to have that sort of entree. But he's really working hard.
Well, here's the cool thing about Mitch. I don't know Jeff. I mean, I follow him on Twitter too, and I like his breakdowns and all that stuff. But learning about the game, like the opportunity I get to talk to Mitch and like learn about like the game that I love so much, and from the offensive line's perspective, which is what I wanted to be, is just, again, you've heard me talk about it before. You know, the coolest thing about my job and my life and what's happened is that I get to reward 18-year-old, 16-year-old Eric constantly with some of my life experience that I get to do. And this is one of them. Talking about a football game from an O-line's perspective is way up there on something that I never imagined I would get to do.
And that's the cool thing I've always had with my brother. I mean, he's my older brother, so he went to college first. He went to the NFL first. He played in Kansas City first. So I've always had him to talk to. We see the game very similarly. As you said, it is tough for an offensive lineman who hasn't won a Super Bowl and hasn't been to 10 Pro Bowls to break into it. I mean, you see with Joe Thomas, I mean, he's just right in 10 Pro Bowls in 10 years, gets you right into the media world, and he's great with it. But my brother, he's done a great job cultivating kind of his thing. As Eric said, I mean, there's a big thirst out there for offensive line play and breaking down. And I think
starts in the trenches, guys.
People in general just want more football knowledge. They just want to know how things work. There's a lot of stuff that goes on with the offensive line play that people just don't know about, and he's able to present that information in a pretty easy way to digest. And
Baldinger breaks down stuff great too.
He does.
He knows how to put his finger on things.
Baldy's breakdown.
That one finger.
No, not that one.
Wow.
Come on, that was a low-hanging.
It's an offensive line thing. We got bad fingers.
Actually, you look like you're in good. I mean,
I got one.
Anthony Munoz, when he puts his hand out and then his pinky goes in a 90-degree right angle, that's freaking me out.
Yeah, that's crazy. I do all the buddy tape stuff, so.
All right.
Yeah, especially your pinkies. You never leave your pinkies on their own.
Oh my God, I have nightmares about getting my thumb pushed back. Just in high school football, I can't imagine what it's like.
Well, I showed up to college, and you play in high school. You don't tape. You don't do anything. You don't know any better. You just kind of throw on gloves. And within the first couple of days of college training camp, a guy, his thumb gets bent back to his wrist and freaks me out. And from then on, thumb tape, hand tape. You just
I don't have
it.
any thumb problems acting in Modern
I was about to say, nothing gets rough and tumble on the set of Modern Family.
Sometimes my wrist, if Cam is too passionate about something.
Thanks for coming here, Eric.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, please.
I can't tell you, you guys, you're not going to want to hear this, but I have to tell you guys watching, the fact that he came up with this and was like, I want to do the show from there. I want to promote Big Slick as much as I can. This is a true gentleman, and you're a good man, and we really appreciate it.
Good.
And hopefully this will help us raise more money for Children's Mercy Hospital here. It's a great hospital. We just spent 2 hours there visiting kids, and what you're doing has a meaningful impact. So we thank you.
Well, I only follow your example, sir, because you're not just talking about it, you're being about it, as you and everybody else does every single year. So thank you for coming on. I will see you later tonight, Eric Stonestreet. And you, Mitchell Schwartz, to you, a fellow member of the tribe, I say.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you too. Thank you. It's been a lot of fun.
I say to you, yeah, I know, member of the tribe. No, not that. Not that tribe.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
You're part of
yeah.
T-Tribe.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the tribe.
I could be in your
Look
tribe.
how you're doing the tomahawk chop after I said that.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.